Gather round, one and all, and listen to tales of excitement and adventure. Tales of daring heroes, savage monsters, and bards who just couldn't keep it in their pants. Tales of friendship, nobility, drunken foolishness, and unforgettable fun. These are tales of role-playing games, fair listeners, and this is Rollin' Bones. My name is Ryan Howard, and I shall be your guide. Hello everyone and welcome to Rollin' Bones presents Danishes and Dragons, our morning show. And let's see, today for breakfast we are serving up a delicious bowl of shrimp and grits. I made these this morning just before I jumped on here, and as far as what's in my mug this morning, we are taking Fallen Angels recommendation from last week, and I'm trying some of this Kicking Horse coffee. It's fantastic. If you see anything tan and fluffy cross the screen, that is Ronan. He is my my cat and my desk assistant. You can now see him at the bottom of the camera here. Let's turn the camera down so you can see him trying to swipe my grits, because this is a boy. Ronan, look at the people. Look at the people, Ronan. Oh, now you look at the people. There he is. Yep, Ronan is a big boy in a big world. And right now he really wants my attention and affection. And if he starts chewing on the microphone, or not microphone, if he starts chewing on the camera cable, that might be an issue. I don't want to kick him out, but I might have to. And he is right up on me. Anyway, guys, welcome to Danishes and Dragons, our second episode. For those of you who missed the first one, I forgot to hit the record button, so that stream is unfortunately lost to time, much like the James Bond stream that I tried to do on Monday, because OBS hates me, or I'm just not good at it, one or the other. It's one of two distinct possibilities, and it's probably the one that I don't want it to be. Okay, Ronan, come on, bud. Sorry, he was all up in my space. And there we go. And no, Elfie, he cannot chew on the microphone if he's eating grits. So what we're going to do this time, and if this disgusts anyone, just let me know and I'll stop eating on stream. But I figured that I would have my breakfast along with you guys. I will not talk with my mouth full. So I'll be eating rather slowly, but, I feel like that's, kind of a good way to do things. So, again, if this just completely disgusts anyone, let me know and I'll stop doing it. But I have my breakfast here, and I figured since this is partially a breakfast stream and partially a D&D stream, that I could have my meal along with you guys. So let's take a bite. I've already kind of started on this. I don't have any pictures because it's not very pretty. It's a lot of kind of brownish yellow in this bowl, but let's see how this tastes. Very good, if I do say so myself. Now, for anyone who's watching who is not from the South, grits are basically, I once heard them described as mashed up corn. Yes, that's accurate, I suppose. But grits are delicious. I think you might be able to find them in grocery stores that are not in the South. I don't know. The reason why that, grits are kind of a Southern thing, and, we never really exported them, is in the 1860s, William Tecumseh Sherman set fire to Atlanta, and ever since then we've been a little bit cagey about sharing our breakfast. So, yeah, In chat, if those of you who have had grits, if you can put kind of your favorite variations of them. Where the shrimp part came from, I have no idea. I'm guessing it's a Cajun edition, because they do like their shrimp, and it's something from a this concept of the low country boil, where shrimp and crawdads and andouille all get added into the grits, and it's delicious. It's amazing. I couldn't find any andouille at Kroger last night, so I just have the shrimp in here. But one of these days, I will do a full-on shrimp andouille, maybe even some crawfish, the shrimp and grits, and I will have to eat it myself unless I have people over, because Elfie does not like fish either. And yes, Elfie, spicy grits are the way it's done around here. Because grits are actually kind of easy to mess up. It's not difficult to turn grits into just an inedible pile of mush. You have to let it sit at low heat for a little bit while you stir it so it doesn't become too lumpy, but it can't be too runny either, because runny grits will get you into hell pretty quickly. And no, I'm not exaggerating. It's in the Bible. Look it up. It's in the book of Second Breakfast. A nice piece of shrimp there. That's the other thing about shrimp. It's also easy to overdo them, and then they'll have the texture of a fire hose. So yeah, you'll have to be cognizant of that while you're cooking your shrimp and grits. And basically, what I excuse me. Basically, what I did here, again, to make sure that Elfie could eat some of the grits as well, I made the grits and the shrimp separately. You're supposed to like mix them together, as with a lot of dishes that have meat or fish in them. And so basically what I did here was I took Alton Brown's recipe for cheddar grits, and then I riffed on it a little bit. I didn't cook it for as long as he says to, because I had the heat on a little too high. The grits are fine, though. They taste perfectly good. They're not burnt or anything like that. And I also... grits have a tendency to be kind of bland, again, because it's essentially mashed up corn. And so you have to do something to them to, kind of make them not taste so much like mashed up corn. Now, my grandma, who has completely lost any sense of adventure when it comes to food, she will eat grits without even, like, butter in them, which I find appalling, quite frankly. So, what I like to do, typically I will add garlic powder, paprika, and cayenne pepper. However, we are out of garlic powder, so I just added paprika and cayenne pepper. We'll get some more garlic powder on Sunday when we do our grocery run. But basically, I add that just to give it a little bit more of a flavor profile, and then, the cheddar goes in, obviously. I did shred my own cheddar this morning. I found that with my cooking recently, I found that there's a lot of things I am unwilling to just kind of buy at the store anymore. I have this part of my brain, the same part of my brain that decided I didn't just need to paint miniatures. I needed to try and do an OSL thing on my most recent miniature, which you guys can see on my Instagram, which is at Howard_Ryan Gregg. But I needed to try OSL to see if I could, really do a cool technique there. That same kind of piece of my brain that doesn't want to play on easy mode has also recently been driving me to try to cook things from scratch. This led me very early on in kind of the quarantine world that we find ourselves in to try to make biscuits from scratch, which we talked about last week. However, I've recently, been wanting to shred my own cheese rather than use the stuff from the bag, and, wanting to make pizza, but not just, with a store-bought crust or something like that. I want to learn to make my own pizza crust. I actually know how to make pizza dough because I used to work at a pizza restaurant, and I was an opener, and I made the dough. However, I did not learn what was in the spice bag, so I have to kind of go about that on my own. And I also need to, scale down the recipe because I was using one of those big industrial mixers to make large amounts of dough. And then I would have to... Ronan, get off the keyboard. On my lap. And if any of you guys have heard banging noises recently, that is kind of Ronan crawling around. He is a bit of a monster. Ronan. Say hi to the people. Say hi to the people, Ronan. All right, there we go. Cool. So, anyway, we were using an industrial mixer to make pizza dough. And basically, I was the strongest person who would open. So I had to, full on bend over and deadlift this giant metal vat of dough onto the counter. And I might have permanently injured my back doing that. I don't know, though. Right now, my back's fine, but we'll see how that goes, once I pass my 20s. Ronan's back on the desk, by the way. I just kicked him off, but now he's back. Typically, I wouldn't mind him being on the desk if he would just sit there. But there are, there's my keyboard right here, which you guys can't see. And then next to the monitor, there's also... where I keep all of my minis. And unfortunately, Ronan sees those as little tiny people that he is big enough to terrorize. So, sometimes he turns into the Catarask, as my good friend Josh Unruly says about his cat Locke. Every time Josh sets up some kind of build on his table, Locke will then immediately jump up on the table and start walking around. Typically, he doesn't start knocking things over, but sometimes he does because he's a cat and he can't help himself. And so Josh has just had to immediately be like, Locke, get off, get off. So, Ronan, you are standing on the keyboard. Okay. Oh, don't whine. Don't whine. Well, so far the stream has been breakfast and cat wrangling. Ronan, don't. Ronan, I will kick you out. His squeak is so pitiful. He makes this noise every... Get your tail down. Get your tail down. Oh, this is just a comedy of errors today. All right, Ronan, say hi to the people. You want to be a star? You want to be a star? Here. Okay, fine. I'll put you down. Ronan's very spirited, very stubborn, Ronan! Down. Alright, if you sit there, you can stay here. Okay. Here, I will turn the camera to Ronan so that you all can experience his cuteness firsthand. We do need a Ronan cam. I've been thinking about looking into a second camera so I can do painting streams as well. But, you know, we could also repurpose that as a Ronan cam. He wants grits. That's what he's after. Or I think he wants the shrimp that's in the grits. The only problem with the Ronan cam is that unlike Lucky, who, you know, Namira, good friend of ours, player in my Saturday games, when she streams, she has a cam for her dog, the Lucky cam. And the problem is, well, it's not a problem for her. Lucky will pretty much stay in one place because he's an older dog. He's a little bit lazy. And so she can just point this camera at his bed. Ronan, in the mornings, Ronan just wants to run around. Ronan sees that I'm up, and he loves me. I'm his human. Elfie has the other cat. Elfie has Nora, who has not yet appeared on stream, but maybe will make an appearance someday. Unless she's behind me. Nope, she's not behind me. She likes to sleep on the bed back there. But Ronan has a tendency to be hyperactive. Sometimes Ronan likes to climb and jump. Oh, buddy. So a Ronan cam would be great in theory, but in practice it might not capture Ronan very often, especially because he's a stubborn little boy. And he is facing directly at the camera, so I'm going to turn down a little bit here so you can see his face. You don't need to see all of my hair, which for being short right now is very high. Very tall hair. It's because I'm a short guy. It's what we call the amusement park trick. All right, well, today what we're going to do for the most part, now that we've discussed breakfast and had a little bit of cat time. He's not going away, by the way. He's going to sit right here the entire time. Maybe he'll look at the camera for a little bit. Just maybe. Problem with him being so close to me is I'm starting to get Ronan hair in my mouth, which, you know, all cat owners know. All of your meals include cat hair. Oh, who's a good buddy? Who's a good buddy? He's also interesting in the fact that he does not like his back scratched for the most part. He actually does not at all want his sides touched. His favorite place to be scratched is right here at the top of the head and under the chin and on the cheeks. If you do more than just like 1 or 2 strokes on his back, he will snap at you. And yes, Elfie, everything does taste better with cat hair in it. Although I think Nora hair tastes a little bit better than Ronan hair. Ronan, look at the people. Look at the people who are praising you. Look at the people who are going, aw. Look at them. Here, if I hold the grits out here, will you look at them? Yes, it's working. It's working, everyone. I'm holding the grits off camera, and now he is looking at you. This is weird. It's like magic. Just have to lift the bowl up and down, and he's just like, ooh, food, food, people food. Also, he doesn't like anything over his head, which is a problem when he's right up in your personal space. So, for a little bit of campaign prep today, what we're going to do is jump over to Incarnate for a little bit and take a look at a map that I'm preparing for what's going to turn into the Ziggurat dungeon for my Dark Sun game. So any of my Dark Sun players who are watching right now, this is where you turn it off. You can come back after we've cleared this floor, and I will definitely kind of, talk that over, with you guys afterwards and tell you a little bit about the process. You can watch this replay on YouTube, but if you're watching right now, cut it off. The cat went away anyway. So, let's go over to our screen share here. I'm actually going to change the position of where my camera is. So I will go up here, and any alerts that happen will come up over my face. So that way you guys can see the map. So let's jump over here. First things first, I do just want to show you guys real quick what we're talking about when we talk about the Ziggurat in Dark Sun. Here's a good rendering of it that you can see. Actually, my face is over that camera, so let's see if this will actually open up. Nope. Lol. Will this one open up? Yeah, a little bit. It's not very big, but you can see it. The Ziggurat's basically this giant rainbow pyramid. Ronan, get down. So yeah, the Ziggurat's basically this this giant rainbow pyramid that is built into the arena in Tyr. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Dark Sun, basically in the Dark Sun novels, the Ziggurat was used by King Kalik of Tyr as basically a giant magical focus that he was using to turn himself into a dragon. Because in the world of Dark Sun, like I explained last time, there's only one dragon, Boris of Tyr, and he was not a naturally born dragon. He had to go through a ritual process to become a dragon. And so let me go ahead and make sure that I can look at chat here while we're doing this. And we can go ahead and get started. So, in my game, my players have just recently kind of entered the Ziggurat from the bottom. They are basically actively going through it and trying to find out things that lie within, because they are looking for the spell book of a lich who has challenged them. Basically a fight to a death. Fight to the death. So, first things first, we need to get rid of the water texture. So I'm going to choose pavement. And let's make sure. There we go. So basically I've selected background. And by the way, I am using kind of the premium version of Incarnate, which I think is like $15 a year. It's super inexpensive. And it's a really cool tool for people who are wanting to build maps and dungeons. It's good to have visual reference, and if you're a terrible artist like I am, being able to use some tools that kind of just help you out is very, very necessary if you want to have maps. Otherwise, you're basically just drawing blobs and saying, this is the continent. And then you're stealing dungeons. So let's go ahead and show the grid. Isometric grid is what's selected right now. We're going to go with a Or should we go isometric? Because this gives it more of a 3D space. And this is not a map that I'm going to be showing my players. This is more for my own benefit. And then I'm going to... Actually, I'm going to share it with Josh, who's going to build it on the table. Although, if Josh is going to build this on the table, I should probably do it this way, just for the sake of simplicity. So, the map is open. And first things first, we need to decide kind of, what we're going to do with this particular setup. My kind of overall goal with the Ziggurat is for it to be a little bit more of a puzzle dungeon. With a few things that need to be fought. And let's see... So we basically have our walls here. In the past, I've put walls around it, and that's just, unnecessary. I'll just, Josh knows. Josh knows that if he wants to put walls around it, he can. So let's open up the catalog here, see what we got. We're right in the mountains. And so what we want... A lot of this stuff is outside, which is kind of a problem. But, there's also stuff that can be used for, like indoor material. Because this is generally for, like, world maps, but I'm going to use it for a dungeon map. And so first things first, I guess what we can do is place... some kind of big object in the center of the room, because who doesn't love a nice big object in the center of the room? Ronan, get off the keyboard. You whiny monkey boy. Sorry, he's a baby. He's 6 years old, but he's a baby. He's a big, fluffy baby. So, let's go ahead and do this. Oh, we've got a couple different options here, which are kind of cool. Let's go ahead and stick a nice obelisk in the middle of the room. Let's make sure... No, I don't want multiple obelisks. I really would like for the grid to not be there. And it's not there anymore. Weird. Okay, so let's go over here to objects. Oh, there we go. Opacity, I think. Should be. All right, well, I have no idea how to do this, and this is becoming just kind of a train wreck, so we're going to go ahead and pretend like that grid is not there. Yeah, we've got this nice obelisk in the center, and basically the puzzle of the room is going to center around this object in the center. Because my idea here is that this obelisk, which I'll go ahead and select, and we'll make it a little bit bigger, just because it dominates the room. And we'll make sure it lines up here. Yeah, this obelisk is essentially going to be an elevator to the next level. But around the room, we're going to have various challenges to get the keys that will help unlock this obelisk. So let me go ahead and fuel up here a little bit. Elfie suggested that next time I use plastic silverware, which might not be a bad idea. That damn cat's back again. Listen, Buster. I already feed you twice a day. Do we need to take it to 3 times? Probably not. Why do I have to be nice to Ronan? He's mean to me. He's a big fluffy bully. So yeah, the obelisk doesn't need to be quite that big. Ronan, get down. If you're going to sit and be calm, then you can stay there. But if not, then I'm going to kick you out. Good boy. He's being a good boy now. He's sitting at his desk. All right, so let's see what other objects we can stick around this room. We've got some desert carts. Desert buildings, some cool stuff like that. A lot of the set dressing is actually going to be accessory to what, I have Josh build. Basically, I'll let him know, what's going to go in these rooms, and he'll set something up like that. What now? Hey, you cut that out. Ronan. He started biting me, so I'm going to go ahead and physically remove him. Don't bite. Cool. Well, not cool because my cat was biting me. But now that he has been placed in timeout, we can continue. Oh, here he comes, the little tyrant. Should have actually closed the door. Anyway, let's go ahead and scale this wall down here. Scale it up a little bit. You can put it at 100%. And we're basically going to create like some puzzle rooms here where the players will have to solve challenges to unlock the keys to this obelisk. So I'll set something over here. And I may have to go back and remake this in, like 2D. But I just like playing around with the 3D. It's a new feature. I've not used this particular feature yet. My walls may be kind of crooked. Because, again, I'm not super artistic. But yeah, we'll have some kind of puzzle over there. I'll do another wall here. Leave a nice big space for a door that will open up to the obelisk. Ronan, if you bite me, I swear, I'll kick you out again. Okay, he's being a good boy right now. Being calm. But if you bite me or swat at me every time I grab the mouse, I'm going to kick you out because I'm doing a stream right now. I hope none of you guys are rooting for Ronan right now because he's being a bit of a pest. Hey! And he's currently winning. So, back the underdog. So yeah, we are building this room right here. And actually, because of the way that I've laid out the room, I'm going to move the obelisk back a little bit, because the obelisk is supposed to be like, dead center. We could scale that down to like 115 so people can actually see it. 110. And we compromise at 105. There we go. But still, the problem here... Again, the problem with this particular program is, you have this obelisk, which is supposed to be a... it's supposed to be a giant elevator. So it's got to look like a giant elevator. Let's up this thing to like 125. 150. I know, this is riveting. But still, this is the process. If you've never planned for a campaign or try to make your own dungeon, this is kind of the process that you have to go through sometimes. So here we can, hide the grid and see what this would look like to the players. And turn the grid back on so I can actually place stuff along it. All right. So, any major landmarks? Basically, this is kind of, what you see. This is all the important stuff in the room. There's going to be some stuff kind of back over this way. Add another wall here so it doesn't look like that just... Oh, you're going to be difficult with me, huh? Never mind. I won't add a wall there. Just move that over. And we'll need to add some doors here. So, if we go into our catalog, we can find multiple different doors. These are good fine generic doors. And then I will scale that down a little bit to fit with the wall. There we go. It's all about perspective. Like all things in life. Most things in life. Some things in life. There we go. And cool, we have a basic setup for this room now. Oh, Nora has joined us. If I pick her up, she's going to be very upset. She might not even let me pick her up. But she's also probably going to jump up on the bed back there behind me, so... That needs to be closed. All right, so we have our basic room layout. Now we can kind of take a look at what... Basically, what's going to be in these rooms. So we've got this big kind of open area down here that the players will enter into. And basically, this is just going to be like an entrance hall of sorts, because the first thing they have to do is get past the first puzzle that I've set up. Well, the second puzzle that I've set up for them. They've already passed the first one. And so there's going to be this big entrance hall, and they're probably going to have to fight a guardian. Although I think what I've got set up is some kind of guardian puzzle. Yeah, I have a guardian puzzle set up for them already. So what I might do is have those guardians open up the door in front of them, take them into this entrance hall, and then they'll have to fight the guardians in here. But it's basically just going to be this big open area with a few, you know, pieces of treasure lying around and stuff like that. And then they'll enter into this obelisk room, and they'll have the chance to observe the obelisk and see, you know, what it is and find the mechanism. And then they'll have to go, there's 4 of these here, so what I'm going to do is actually create a new map. I'll save this one first. Ziggurat, isometric. It would help if you spell isometric right. Okay. I don't think I actually put Ziggurat in there. I might have just put Ziggurat. Because that's what kind of day I'm having, and it's only 10 o'clock. So, return to maps. Yeah, I definitely just put Ziggurat. Oh, I can change that name later. And it's opening it again, so never mind. Create new map. We'll do the same thing that we did last time. Digital landscape. Or actually what I can do here, rather than doing that. No. There used to be a feature where you could open a copy. There it is. Clone. There we go. There, so now we've done a lot of the background work already, and I can just highlight everything and delete. And delete. And now we'll make the grid square like this, so we can see the top down. And from here, we'll kind of create our map again. So we'll go to our brick pieces here. I'm actually going to move this in a little bit. And you can do this handy thing where you highlight and move everything as a whole. There we go. And we got brick walls. I had a family friend who used to call me Brick Wall, and I don't know why. I didn't particularly have the qualities of a brick wall when I was 8 years old when she called me that. But still, Brick Wall. That was my nickname. Should say something about my intelligence, I suppose. Maybe I just came off as a brick wall, gave off a brick wall vibe. I probably still give off a brick wall vibe. I am sure that Elfie thinks I do sometimes. Probably right now. There we go. So that's our doorway. So down here is going to be where they enter and they fight the Guardian. And I'll have Josh dress it up a little bit. And then we're going to have the central chamber where the obelisk is kept. And there's a couple of different, puzzles that I could use for this particular dungeon. One that I'm definitely going to use, the Guardian puzzle that they're going to have to do to actually get into this chamber, I stole from Muhammad. And basically they're going to be fighting these twin Guardians who they'll have to deal basically the same amount of damage to in order to kill. All right, now we go back to brick walls. That's what you all came here to see, right? Brick walls. Go. Okay, there's one chamber. No chamber is complete without a chamber pot. Some ancient toilet humor there for you. Maybe if I use like the Bob Ross voice, this would be a little bit more of an interesting process. Oh, Elfie said no comment when I said that I might be coming off as a brick wall right now. So, well, that just confirms it. Once a brick wall, always a brick wall. And then, of course, we will build up here. But yeah, Bob Ross is a cultural touchstone that I do not have much experience with, oddly enough. He's one of these figures of the internet that people seem to love and appreciate. I never watched a single second of Painting with Bob Ross. I also grew up with cable, so that might be why. But yeah, I just never experienced Bob Ross. And then I started seeing him on the internet, and I was like, who is this Afro dude? And people were like, "Oh, it's Bob Ross. He, did this painting show on PBS." And I was just like, "Oh, why were you watching PBS?" I mean, we would watch PBS Kids in the morning, but that's because Arthur was on. Here we go. Gotcha. So this is a little bit better idea of what this room is going to look like from the player's perspective. You're going to have this big obelisk in the center of the chamber. And then in each of these chambers, you'll have some kind of challenge or puzzle that you'll have to complete to open up the elevator and be able to take it to the next level. So basically, what we'd be doing for this, there's one puzzle that I really like. Again, a lot of these are kind of combat related. That's so the barbarian doesn't get bored. We do have a barbarian. We also have a fighter. And if I make all of these puzzles, mental challenges and stuff, again, the barbarian's just going to end up stacking dice. Now, Kevin is not a dice stacking player, so I don't know. He might actually contribute some kind of role play or stuff like that, but still, I want to give Claw the chance to participate in unlocking this obelisk. So we'll have the Guardian fight. We'll have in one of these rooms we'll have what's basically a Modron challenge where some Modrons will appear and they'll have to kill a certain number of each of them. To unlock a box that will have one of the orbs that's going to power these different things on the obelisk. And then we'll need to come up with some kind of puzzles for the other ones. I think one of them is just going to be like a platforming area where someone's going to have to agilely jump across, avoid some traps, and get to this thing in the center where the orb is going to be sitting. And then one of the rooms, I like perspective puzzles in video games, and I don't really know how to actually I do kind of know how to make that work in D&D. So I might do like a forced perspective puzzle with a rendering of Boris of Tyr that looks three-dimensional. That kind of stuff's really cool. It won't be able to be represented on the battle map, but I mean, I'll definitely be able to convey that, and they'll be able to find it with perception checks, investigation, that kind of stuff. And I'll have some kind of clue. It won't be super obvious where it's hidden, but I'll have some kinds of clues that will help them determine where this thing is hidden. And then down here, we'll probably do some kind of mental challenge or some kind of, magical challenge. Because, again, I want to get everyone involved. Maybe like a light bouncing thing. That seems like a pretty good idea. Yeah, so this is going to be kind of the first entrance to the Ziggurat. And they'll take the elevator to the top, and they'll go to the next layer. If I pull up the Ziggurat image again, so we'll go Ziggurat Dark Sun. And my picture's right over top of it, so... Go here and we zoom in a little bit so you guys can actually see it. Basically, they'll be in this this portion right here, this yellow area, and they'll take the obelisk up to probably the violet layer. It's supposed to be Roy G. Biv, so I don't know what this particular rendering is supposed to be conveying here, but that's you know, it's going to be Roy G. Biv, the outside, and I'll explain that to the players as we get there. So now that we have that set, you know, we have a decent idea of what we're going to do here. And go ahead and switch back to main solo here. That's basically what I'm going to end up doing with this particular dungeon. Next week, we will begin to do some prep for my Saturday campaign. They're going to be coming up on some stuff that needs to be prepared, so we'll be doing that prep for anyone in that group who's watching right now. I'll let you guys know when we're discussing spoiler stuff, so just so you know. And from there, well, that is going to do it for today's episode. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you have any suggestions for breakfast topics that we should cover next time, please let me know on Twitter. Once again, that is at Howard_RyanGreg. And this Monday, I will be talking to Caleb from Sounds Like Crows about the audio dramas that he and his friends make related to Deadlands. We'll be doing some more Deadlands talk. Pinnacle actually just released the pre-release of the new Weird West Suede rules for those of us who are at the martial level or higher. So I'll be giving some first thoughts on that. I won't show anything because it's not done yet, but I'll be talking a little bit about that in future streams to come. So until then, whether or not you rolled a 1 or a 20, I am so glad that you rolled your bones with me, Ryan Howard, and I'll see you next time.